Hey guys, Kev here, and I'm going to do my full review on the Pena X Series Lanny's clip, or Lanny front flipper. This is a different version of the knife. Basically the third version you've seen probably. I'll go over all that, but I'm really digging this knife, and a couple of caveats and everything, but we'll get into that real quick. I do have a couple things to open, so I'll use the Lanny for that. This thing is butter, has a fantastic tip on there, and a perfect hollow grind from Riot. This is just some stickers I ordered from Sticker Mule, just reing up a little bit. I got 50 of these lefty stickers. I was running pretty low, and I probably need more than this, but they always have these deals where it's like, I don't know, 20 bucks and you get 50 of them, and they said they were going to stop doing it or their price is going to go up. So whenever I see that deal, I just buy it, because 20 bucks for 50 stickers is a hell of a deal if you look at sticker pricing. So anyway, I got those, and then I have this package from oh, this is from, I thought it was from Amazon, and I couldn't figure it out. So this is actually from Casey, Knives Fast. So I'm actually going to hold off on this, and I'll open that in a separate video. That is actually some slip joints by way of Benny from Jack Wolf Knives. So I'll be checking those out, but let's get into the Lanny here, guys. So I originally bought a version from Fanatic Edge, which was Cerakoted. So all the titanium, the backspacer, the scales, not the scales, the liners, I guess, and all the hardware was titanium, and now is Cerakoted black. And then it came with green micarta scales, right? And the obviously belt satin on the blades, M390. And then what I did was I went and bought a second one from a guy on Facebook that had this Arctic fat carbon on it. And his was just the plain titanium. So it was like the standard version, plain titanium hardware and liners and everything. And then fat carbon. It's a Crane's Cutlery exclusive. So then what I did was I swapped the scales. So I took the green micarta off and I put it on the plain titanium, and I put this fat carbon onto the Cerakoted version. So now I have this super dope ass version right here that's all blacked out on the scales and hardware, and then it has that fat carbon to match. It's absolutely sexy as fuck. And then with the satin blade, I just think it looks gorgeous. I know some of you guys would probably love to see it be a DLC blade, but it's not really my style, so I really love it this way. Now, the issue with that was I paid $375. Excuse me, I have something in my throat. I paid $375 for the one from Fanatic Edge with micarta and Cerakote, right? And these retail are like 280 bucks, something like that, from Pena or Blade HQ or whatever, right? They're somewhere around 280, 290. So I paid $375 for that one, and then I paid $350 or $360 for the one with fat carbon and plain titanium. So then when I did the scale swap, I basically was left with this badass version and then a stock Lanny, because it just had green micarta and plain titanium. And I went ahead and sold that one, and I could only sell it for, I think I sold it for $250, something like that, $260, something like that. So I couldn't really get my money back, because I had taken all the good things and all the modifications and put it on one, right? So that's something you got to keep in mind if you're going to get into scale swaps and stuff like that, and then sell the leftovers. So this basically right here is like a $400, Pena Lanny. I mean, if you think about it, it's probably more than that, but nobody will ever pay that, and I'll never charge that. So, I was thinking about selling this. A couple people asked, and I said I'd sell it for like 400 and then take offers, right? But I took it apart again yesterday and tried to tune it up because the action just wasn't perfect for me, and I need that if I'm going to keep a knife that costs this much, right? I used to be able to spuddy flick it. There we go. So I ended up getting it pretty much perfect now. I strengthened the detent a touch. So if you just roll it out, it will lock up every time, and it's very smooth on the close. You could do the reverse flick. Look at that. You can do the top flick. Really, really nice. So, because Fanatic Edge, when he got it, this is the base of the one he did, right? He lightened the detent a touch because he thought that it came a little stiff from Riot. And I liked that at first, but the more I played with it, the more it was like I could shake it out pretty easy. And I just worry about that opening in my pocket. I don't know. And then I would do the kind of slow open, and it would kind of just pop out a little bit. So I wanted a little bit of a stronger detent, and the one that had the plain titanium did have a stronger detent, but it was plain titanium. And I sold that one. So anyway, I just kind of bent the lock bar a little bit when I took this apart yesterday, and I got it perfect, and the action got even better somehow. So I'm good, and I'm keeping it. I love it. So anyway, Jesus, Kev. Aesthetically, this thing is just fucking sexy as balls. That just, without the fat carbon, it's sexy, right? It just has the greatest lines. I love the rounding here. I hate the sway back style handles, and basically it's the opposite of that, right? This is kind of what a sway back looks like. So they just did the opposite of that. And then you have this gorgeous clip point. I mean, I can't stress enough how fucking sexy this clip point is. It goes all the way down. It's almost a buoy, right? Or a Bowie. It almost kind of looks like that to me. Now, the only negative I have with that is the tip and how it's angled. I guess I'll get into that in terms of cutting, but there's a sexy hollow grind, super thin hollow grind. M390 steel, just fantastic knife right here, guys, aesthetically. So ergonomically, for me, this knife is fantastic because it has this swell right here, doesn't have the stupid, backward sway back thing. It's large enough. That's one of the reasons I love this model, is it's one of the larger ones. It's 3.15 on the blade. His other ones are really small. They're like 2.7, 2.8 inches on the blade. And that gives you a smaller handle. And like my hands would just fit on those, but it just wasn't that comfortable. And then trying to manipulate the flippers and everything, it wasn't great. This fits my hand perfectly. It feels really good like this. You have this flat up here on the spine. Your thumb lands right there. It feels really good. You don't get all the way up to where it drops into this clip point, so you're good. Hollow grind. It just feels really good in hand, guys. That's the best way I can put it. Right-handed, same thing. That clip, fantastic. No hot spot or anything. Yeah. So in terms of carry, this thing is fantastic. His clips are really good on these X Series knives, the front flippers. In and out of pocket, super easy. I carry it in my back left because it's just safer with a lighter detent. It's a front flipper. It's going to be lighter. But I guess it's more of a top flipper, so it's kind of safe. You could carry this in your front left if you really wanted to. And I may do that sometimes, but I try to just carry it as like a secondary. That's the kind of size it is anyway, right? Cutting. So, guys, it's just a fantastic hollow grind by Riot. So thin behind the edge. It's super sharp. M390 steel. It's a pleasure to cut with, guys. It goes through cardboard like butter, paper like butter, packaging like butter. Now, the only caveat to that is with this type of clip point, your tip kind of rides up, right? So you have pretty much a flat all the way to here and then belly up and out, right? So I was cutting shipping labels with it. That's one of the tests I like to do because I ship a lot of stuff, and I need to cut the labels out. So you have to get pretty vertical with it because that tip is up, right? So you have to get pretty vertical and then slice in, and that belly is right there. It's just riding under that tip. So you tend to kind of get into a poke and then drag situation, and you end up dragging the belly through and not the tip, and you don't get as much penetration as you would on like a Warney or you know, a drop point even, because it's just a little bit higher. So that tip is really the only issue I have with the blade or cutting itself, but it cuts like a dream otherwise, and it's kind of an aesthetic, you know, slash function choice for people. It does have a sharpening choil back there. I don't know much about that. I don't know if that's a good one or not. You guys tell me. Yeah, so that's cut and carry, ergos, and aesthetics, so sounds. I really like the sounds on this knife. Because of that top flipper, you get so much power behind that flip. It just really cracks out of there and locks up. Feels really, really solid. Reverse flick feels good. It's not the most loud, it's not the loudest knife, but that deployment is just, it catches your breath. You're just like, smack, you know? I really like it. And the close is super subtle. It's titanium build, so you know, you get a little bit of click clack when everything's closing and everything. It's nice. So I would definitely give the sounds like a 7 out of 10. Centering is dead nuts, by the way. Just want to point that out. No matter how I was tuning it, it was pretty much dead center the whole time. I am having a little bit of an issue with the pin that goes between the scales and the backspacer. It just does not want to like fully seat on both sides. So occasionally I can see a gap like through, I don't know if you'll catch it, you can see a gap like through the backspacer. And I just have to squeeze it a little bit. Now, part of the problem there is when Fanatic Edge put this back together, he must have forgot to put the little T6 screws that go into the backspacer on one side. So this side does not have those little T6 screws that's under the scale, and he sent me those. So once I get them, I'll install them, and I'm guessing that will take care of this issue. But that pin was a little bit of a bitch when I was putting it together. It just didn't want to go through, and then it was sticking out one side, and I hate pins on knives, but I guess it really does help keep the knife together and everything. So it is what it is. It's not really a big deal. I wanted to point that out though. Action. So yeah, it's just money. You could do the top flipper. You could do the index finger flip. You could do the drag roll flick like this. I can't do it so well left-handed. There you go. Where you can kind of like roll it back. Righties can do it better. You just kind of roll it back as you go. And you get that. You can do the Spidey flick on this one because the blade sticks out more than on the other models. I was able to do the reverse flick pretty reliably on the large swayback, but it was not every time. That detent must have been a little stronger, or I didn't have enough grip here. You have a little bit of a swedge and everything going on. You can kind of get in there and flick it. Does it work right-handed? Yes, it works right-handed. That just adds a layer to the action, right? It's already awesome to be able to just front flip it and do the index flip on top. Also, if you have a stronger detent, this is going to be harder to do. It's normally not this hard. I think it's just because I'm in the car and kind of struggling a little bit here. But yeah, so there's 3 opening methods, essentially 4 if you want to count the kind of rollback. And I really appreciate that because, you know, one of the other front flippers I have is the Shamwiri, and it only has 1 opening method. You know, you have that little front flipper nub, and that's it. And, you know, as smooth and beautiful as that knife is, it gives it kind of puts it down the totem pole a little bit for me compared to this, because I can do more with this. in terms of the action, right? Now, the closing action is very solid. It drops to your nail, and then, you know, it's very smooth, and if you give it one solid shake, it'll go. It's really good. I finally got it. Like, there's absolutely no play, rock solid. I finally got it where no play, rock solid, drops to your nail, and then shakes down like that. It took a little bit of tuning, guys. You know, I tried just loosening the pivot and trying to get it to there, and, you know, it just was a little bit of finagling to get it there. But now that it's there and Loctited, it's beautiful. And like I said, I was tempted to sell this because I just bought some expensive knives, and I was thinking about recouping a little bit. And I sold the other one, and I was like, this action isn't perfect. But then yesterday I solved all that, and I absolutely am back to loving this knife. Action is very important to me, guys. So, you know, you guys have to know for yourself what, you know, what categories mean the most, right? For me, it's aesthetics, it's action, and it's probably ergos. I really do appreciate good cutting, but I can take a knife with a little bit thicker edge as long as it's sharp, because I'm not the guy using my knife constantly, right? I open packages, cut paper, cut shit to, you know, prove that a knife is sharp, and then the occasional stuff that comes up, right? But I'm not constantly pulling this out of my pocket to use. I'm more or less pulling it out to play with it. So, you know, that's all preference stuff. But anyway, I could definitely recommend this knife, especially for 270, 280 bucks. That's really good. If you want to get a fancy ass version, I totally get it. It's really dope. Apparently there's only like 10 or 15 with this scale, and I doubt there's any other one with the black Cerakote and the Arctic fat carbon. So this is kind of a one-of-a-kind Lanny right here, and I really love it. I always enjoy Pena's knives. They don't tend to stick around for me for some reason, but I feel like this one is. It's kind of special to me now that I modded it and everything, and tuned it and got it perfect. So that's it, guys. Sorry for the all over the place ramble and rant and all that stuff. I'm just kind of out of it. It's a Friday, trying to get done work here, and you know, so anyway, I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.